You know, really sloppy, messy, dirty, spit everywhere. Hey guys, yes, I've talked about losing my virginity before, but now I'm gonna explain it in full detail. But seriously, I'm gonna talk about the first time I lost my virginity. So I was actually topping my first boyfriend. If this video gets to 5,000 likes, I'll do another video explaining in full detail about me bottoming, which was also really funny because, you know, it was in a ditch. So, moving on. Okay, so this is how the story went. I was dating my first boyfriend for like 4 or 5 months. And you know, things were getting really hot, and he surprised me one night, and I live kind of like by the beach on Long Island, New York, and there's like these little campgrounds where you can like rent a campground for the night or whatever, and you can have like a little bonfire and blah blah blah. It's on the beach, it's not really that expensive. Wait, wait a minute. Why are they renting out camp spots to 14-year-olds? That's my question. Now I'm confused. Anyway, okay, so we're in a camp, we're like in a tent. I think it was my mom's tent. Mom, if you're watching this, just stop watching right now. So I brought a tent from my house over to the campgrounds. We met there, whatever, and it was starting to get really hot in the tent. Like the sun was starting to go down, like we were like making out hardcore. And then, okay, so then he like stops me and I'm like, what? Bitch, what? And he's like, I gotta go freshen up. And I was like, my mouth was literally in your stomach. Like, why would you even need to freshen up? Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm so confused. And then he grabs like his bag, like he had a backpack, and like leaves. And I didn't have like a smartphone or anything at the time, so I'm just sitting there in the tent, like dwindling my thumbs. And I'm just like, what did I do? Like, maybe he's trying to tell me that I had bad breath or like something, because like, why would he just get up and leave? I'm like, this is really confusing. We didn't fight or anything. Like, what is he freshening up? Like, at the point, I didn't really understand what was going on. Like, I'm like, saving sex to marriage, duh. So he comes back, and then I'm like, he's got like some sadistic look on his face, and I am all for it. Like, we go hardcore making out. We're like sitting on our knees, like we're on our knees in this tent, just like going at it. And then we end up just like rolling around the floor, just like hardcore making out, just like two young kids in love, you know. We're just like, you know, really sloppy, messy, dirty, spit everywhere, just like the whole works. And then he's like, I want you to F me. And I'm like, oh, so this is what's gonna happen. I'm like, I'm not prepared. Like, I don't have a condom. And he's like, I got plenty. And I'm like, wow, okay, so he obviously knew what was gonna go down. And I'm like, I did not. I'm like, hold up, what's going on? Okay, so we got everything? Like, what do you mean? Like, what about like lube or whatever? Like, what, you know? And he's like, oh, we could just use spit. I was like, okay, sounds wonderful. So I'm over here. I think I even put the condom on upside down. I was like, why isn't it rolling? Like, how do I get it to roll? And he's like, oh, it's like upside down or whatever. And this is like before I knew about like eating the booty, because like before I discovered eating the booty, it was a dark time. Like, you know, you gotta eat the booty, you gotta loosen them up, you gotta like, you know, massage that sphincter. But I didn't know any of that. I thought eating booty sounded disgusting and gross, so I didn't even do that. I just kind of like, you know, was gonna slide right in. So I'm like going in, and like, okay, so he's like on his back, like laying down. His legs are now up because he wanted to like look at me as, you know, we're doing it. And I was like, aw, that's cute. Like, it was really romantic. And so here I am, like we're kissing still, and I kind of like, you know, put my head in, and he's like, you know, he puts his hand on my chest and he's like, stop, 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 stop. And I was like, okay, like, am I hurting you? Like, what's going on? And then, and then he starts to cry. Like, he's like literally crying. And I'm like, what did I do? Like, did I hurt him? Like, is he bleeding? Like, what the hell is going on here? And he's like, this is so beautiful. We are becoming one. And like, even my heart sunk and I was like, oh my God, this is like perfect. This is so cute, so romantic. I'm like, bitch, please. Like, this is adorable. So, you know, he's like, let's go at a slow pace. Let's like remember this moment, blah, blah, blah. And like, I'm like, bitch, I am never gonna forget this moment because it took like, like 10 minutes. Like 10 minutes to get fully inside of him. Like, so every like minute, like I went like, you know, half an inch or an inch in or whatever. And I'm like inching my way in. Like he's like, kept like slowing me down. And I'm just like, okay. He's like still crying. He's like, this is so beautiful, blah, blah, blah. And it was like really cute for like the first couple minutes. But I'm like, okay, girl, like, you know, I'm trying to lose my virginity here, like, let me fuck you. Like, seriously, like, I am so over that. No, I'm just kidding. I was still, like, in a romantic mood for the first, like, 5 minutes. But, so I'm, like, still like, okay, like, I'll kiss your neck, blah, blah, blah. And then there was a slip. I had, like, a slip, and I, like 3-4 minutes in, like, I was, like, kissing on his neck or somewhere over here. And, like, kind of, like, slid like an inch and a half more in, and he like kind of like pushes me back and takes whatever just went into him and was like, no. I was like, oh, whoops. I was like, okay, well, that was like an accident. He's like, no, it wasn't, you did that on purpose. And I was like, no. I don't really remember. I think it like actually genuinely was an accident, but I just played it off and I was like, okay. So like we're here like in the tent and I'm like, you know, okay, so like 10 minutes in, I'm in. I'm finally in. I'm like, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. You know, I'm like, oh my God, thank God, like I'm not a virgin anymore. And you know, he just like, okay, so like the whole time, he just wanted to look at me. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going nice and slow. And, you know, a couple minutes after that, I can't believe, like, I think I was just so like low-key turned off that he was like crying and like being very over the top emotional and like being very dramatic that I was like, I'm not gonna... Normally kids like when you're younger you can't control yourself, like you're 1 minute in, you're like, oh shit, I already went. But like, you know, I'm like 12 minutes in and I'm like, okay, like I've been like slowly going in and out a couple of times. I'm like, maybe we should switch positions because like I literally didn't want to see his face anymore because it was like really sad and like not, it was like, I'm like, bitch, don't kill my vibe. Like, I was losing it. Like, I was just like, I'm like, all right, let's try to make this a good experience. Like, turn him around, like, work with that. So I tried to do that, and he was like, And I was like, so, okay, so his legs were, like, on my shoulder things, and then he kind of, like, I took them, like, off to, like, turn him around. But then, like, I went to go turn him around, and, like, his legs were, like, down. But then, like, he refused to turn around. So I was like, okay. So then he's like, you know, laying on his back with his legs now sideways as I'm like doing it. And I like put like a little pillow under him and I'm like, all right, I guess this is how it's gonna go. He's like, I just want to look into your eyes the whole time. And I'm just like, girl, like you were just so, it's creepy. It went from like being so cute to like creepy. I don't know why. Like I think I'm romantic, but like I know when I'm crossing the line, when I'm like, okay, like time to fucking tone it down because you're creeping the fuck out of the person. My first boyfriend did not know how to tone down. Like he just kept going and going and going and I'm just like, whew. So I'm like going and going and going. And then I'm like, okay, I'm about to go. And he's like, no, wait. And I was like, okay, what do you mean, wait, bitch? Like, it's been 15 minutes, like, I'm over this, like, it's time to go. Like, he's like, we gotta go together. It needs to be in sync. And I'm just like, I'm like, okay, all right, okay. Like, you know, do you want to touch yourself, whatever? He's like, you can do me. So I was like, all right, this is basically all my relationships. I like had to do all the work. I'm like, okay, so let me just, you know, F you while I'm, you know, doing that to you. Like, you just lay there, you know, you just have a good time, you lay back, you relax. Like, I basically, that set the like, you know, whatever for all my relationships, because I feel like they all were kind of like that. I'm like, bitch, get the fuck up and do something. Like, I'm not like a one-man wonder. Like, girl, like, put some back into it, put some energy, like, stop your crying, like, shit. So anyway, like 3 minutes after that, it was like probably like, we're up to like 18 minutes now, and he's like, it is time. And I'm just like, okay. I'm like, okay, like, now I have like 10 seconds to catch up. So I went like, you know, I was like going like, and then all of a sudden I'm like, boo, 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 boo. And he's like, he's just like not having it. He's like, no. And he starts going, and then I start like going, and I'm just like, woo! Now that that's over. And like, okay, so then he wants to like cuddle. Like immediately afterwards, he wants to like cuddle. He like wipes himself a little bit with like, you know, some toilet paper I think he got from like the bathroom, whatever. And like, you know, I take the condom off and we're just like there laying with each other. It was kind of cute and like whatever, but I'm just like, I really need to take a shower right now. And he's like, no, we need to savor this moment. Like, we need to like be together. We need to be like, you know, we got to remember this. And I was like, all right, this is like something I'm not gonna fucking forget, but okay. So we're laying there, you know, he's talking about it. Like, I'm like, okay, like, I know what just happened. Like, it just literally happened. He's like, we became one again, like, blah, 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 like, blah, 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 blah. Like, honestly, I don't remember a thing he was saying because, like, my mind was totally turned off at that moment. I'm like, I need to go wash up. Like, they had, like, these, like, bathrooms and, like, showers for the campground areas. So I was like, that's all I could think about is, like, oh, God, it would be so great right now to just, like, take a shower and, like, wipe off my, you know, sticky, you know, I don't know. Like, I wasn't feeling it. I'm like, all right, I gotta go. But, so, yeah, so, like, it ended. We're sitting there cuddling, which felt like forever. It was probably, like, a half hour. And then I was like, I'm gonna take a shower. And he's like, I'm gonna take a shower with you. I'm like, okay. You can take a shower with me. I'm like, all right, that sounds great, I guess. That's fine and dandy. So we go into the stall. And the stalls are kind of small, so we went to like the handicap stall because, you know, there's two of us, whatever. And then there was like some guy there, like some man that was like, I don't know, maybe like in his 40s or something. And he's like, what are you guys doing in there? Because he like must have looked under and saw like 2 feet. And we're like, we're taking a shower. He's like, you guys better not be doing anything funny or something. And I was like, what the hell? So I was just like, you know, you should go on the other one to make things like less awkward for like that guy. Like, I was like, are we gonna get beat up? Like, could you imagine like after my first time like losing my virginity, I get the shit beat out of me by like a homophobe? I'm like, all right, just go into the other stall. So he went into the other stall, he cleaned up, I cleaned up, and then it was cute. We actually, you know, we were on the beach and we were chilling, and then we went back to the tent and we slept, and it was super cute and super romantic after the fact. But like, I don't know, that was my first like experience losing my virginity, and I didn't know that it was gonna happen. I was completely like blindsided because I was like young and I wasn't like obviously like guys, we think about sex all the time, like 24/7, and like I thought about it, but like I wasn't mentally prepared. Like, I wasn't ready for it. I didn't know it was gonna happen. Like, Thankfully, he didn't want to top me the first time, because that would have been really awkward. I would have been like, what? Because he knew what he was doing. Like, he knew how to, like, enema and clean himself up beforehand, where I'm just like, what? Like, my story of me losing my virginity, like, me bottoming for the first time, was awful. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. He basically just, like, you know...
That's nasty.
Told me what to do, and it was just awful, and it was a bad experience. They were both pretty bad experiences, but I think, you know, me bottoming was probably a worse experience than me topping, because, you know, it was in a ditch. So, yeah! I hope you guys liked my story. Give this video a good thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe, because every time you don't subscribe, a gay baby turns straight. It's it for the gamies! I'll see you guys next Sunday.